Is the deep state about to unleash an alien false flag event? Aloha everyone, I'm Dr. Michael Salla, and I'm responding to a video that was put out on April 7 by Dr. Stephen Greer, and this was done in anticipation of the upcoming 20th anniversary of the famous 2001 Disclosure Project press conference, where he presented testimony of a number of people, including Dr. Carol Rosen, concerning a deep state plan for an alien false flag invasion. And so recently there have been developments which have led to Dr. Greer, along with others, who believe that we are on the verge of having the deep state unveil its long planned alien false flag invasion event that was known about as far back as 1974, which was when Dr. Carol Rosen said that she was told about this by Wernher von Braun, the celebrated pioneer in the Apollo program that was a former Nazi V2 rocket scientist. She was told by Wernher von Braun about the plan for a succession of events culminating in a false flag alien invasion. So we've kind of seen the succession of events, Russia being identified as a bogeyman. Then we saw rogue nation states such as North Korea, Libya, terrorism. There was also the hypothesis that we would witness asteroids being depicted as a threat. And we have seen that. There have been, over the last 12 months especially, a succession of major news reports about close encounters with asteroids. And so this has led to more effort being put into radar recognition, intelligence, surveillance data of asteroids, meteors. And so we've seen this, and now we're on the verge of what Wernher von Braun warned about, of this alien false flag event. And so this is what Stephen Greer is really trying to make the public aware of. He's putting together another documentary which is going to talk about the cosmic threat, and he's raising funds for that. And what I find interesting is that this really does dovetail with what I see are some very worrying signs that such an event could in fact be happening. Now, of course, everyone is very familiar with the 2004 US Navy sightings off the coast of San Diego involving the USS Nimitz and USS Princeton, where these UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, or UFOs, were sighted and tracked on radar. There were similar sightings around 2015 by another Navy battle group on the East Coast, the Atlantic coast, that were also recorded by various pilots. These are the famous FLIR sightings and the gimbal sightings. And so far there have been 3 videos that have been released and acknowledged by the Navy as being genuine concerning these UFOs witnessed in 2004, 2015. Now recently there was another one, 2019, that the Navy has also, that has been leaked, showing Navy pilots interacting with a UFO. Now, all of this culminated in December of 2020 with the Intelligence Authorization Act being passed by Congress, calling for an authoritative report by the intelligence community that would be spearheaded by the Director of National Intelligence, who at the time was John Ratcliffe. He has since been replaced. This report would then be delivered to the Senate Intelligence Committee that at the time was headed by Senator Marco Rubio. Now he's the ranking member on the Intelligence Committee. And this was going to present a authoritative report from all the intelligence community, which represents 18 different entities, that would all provide their data on UFOs or UAPs, and that Senate Intelligence Committee would then decide whether this would be released to the general public. But they did request that this authoritative report by the intelligence community would be presented in an unclassified format. So that does suggest that the intention is to release this to the general public. So what's this going to be saying? Well, it seems that the emphasis is more and more on the idea that these UFOs are something that constitute a threat, either from a foreign nation, China or Russia, or big unknown would be the extraterrestrial threat. Now, it does seem that people who have been discussing these Navy sightings and the Navy videos and been discussing the Intelligence Authorization Act requirement for a report to be delivered sometime in June of this year, that would actually focus on foreign entities such as Russia or China, but it does seem, according to Greer's sources, that they are going to present this as actually involving an extraterrestrial unknown threat. And this could trigger the long-anticipated false flag operation. Everyone, I'm sure, is very familiar with the idea of a false flag, that you pin responsibility on someone else for something that you contrive yourself. So the idea is that there would be these alien reproduction vehicles that have been developed by different entities such as Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, who have been reverse engineering these anti-gravity craft based on recovered alien sources that have been worked on as far back as the 1960s and 70s, that the first prototype alien reproduction vehicles did come out in the 1970s. So the idea is that some of these would be used in a false flag event to make it look as though the Earth is under attack from aliens, and that then the deep state, using all its resources across the media, across academia, across government, across scientific think tanks, would sell the idea that we're under attack by extraterrestrials. And that would lead to a new scenario, a new way in which the public could be hoodwinked, tricked into giving the deep state more control, more authority, way in addition to what we're seeing now. I mean, right now we're seeing, in the midst of this pandemic, so much power being given over under these health emergency mandates that different states and the federal government are authorizing, not only in the United States but all over the world. So you can kind of expand that by a fact that if all of a sudden now people are dealing with this alien invasion scenario. So the big question is, can it be pulled off? Now, of course, Stephen Greer, he believes that given advance warning, the public can be brought up to speed, and that this is unlikely to succeed. And certainly, an aware and alert public is going to make it very difficult for this alien false flag event to succeed. But I think that the big question is, well, regardless of success, could the deep state launch this? Not so much because they believe it's going to succeed, but because this is going to create just much more havoc, much more confusion, much more of a dynamic situation where the deep state, if not succeed in their overall agenda, can actually just create so much chaos that the white hats, those that want to reveal the truth, that things are going to be so much more difficult for them. And I think that's very, very possible, because I think that the alien false flag invasion scenario has been around for decades. Greer first brought it into public consciousness back in May 2001. So kudos to him for having done that. So it's been nearly 20 years now. People have been discussing this, and they know all about Project Bluebeam. They know all about DARPA and its capacity to pull off an alien false flag event using holographic laser technologies, using all these advanced satellite projection capabilities. We know, for example, back in 2016, there was a strategy paper released by a group called the Benenson Strategy Group, which actually discussed whether or not an alien false flag event would succeed in the Clinton campaign winning the 2016 election. And it was decided that it wouldn't succeed. So that wasn't rolled out. While the 2020 presidential election has come and gone, it's still a matter of debate whether things are resolved. People are waiting for action to take place, and people believe that this current administration, Biden administration, is a filler. That something is going to happen, and that we're going to see a restoration of the Trump administration, or the white hats, the military white hats, are going to take control. Now, that can happen. We all hope that the truth can emerge. If the deep state believes that their plan for the Biden administration to serve out the full 4 years isn't going to succeed, or that this pandemic is going to unravel, could they be desperate enough to unveil a false flag alien event? I think so. I think that they have the capability to do it. I think they've long had a plan to do it. They have enough resources, and now you actually have a Biden administration in power. And so for the time being, at least, the Biden administration has people in key positions of authority in the intelligence community and the Pentagon. There are all sorts of stories about whether the Pentagon is fully responsive to the Biden administration. But I think on paper, at least, Biden is the commander-in-chief. And I think that there are those in the military that will respond to the Biden administration. So could Biden and his people, together with the deep state, launch an alien false flag scenario? I think so. And I don't think they would do it because they think it would win, or that the public would buy into it, because I think there are too many people that are alert to this. But I think that with the intention of sowing chaos, pandemonium, they could do it. So that would make any planned white hat restoration of legitimate authority that much more problematic, that much more difficult, that there would be so much chaos, and this would be part of a kind of deep state scorched earth policy to make it really difficult for the white hats to succeed. So I think chances of this alien false flag event happening over the next few months, especially in conjunction with this report by the intelligence community on the Navy UFO sightings 2004, 2015, and most recently 2019, that can provide a justification for a report coming out that really gets people very frightened. And so something could be done to kind of feed off these fears. So this is certainly something that I think we all need to be vigilant about. I'm very excited to announce that on April 22nd will be the official release of Book 6 in the Secret Space Program series. It's going to be titled Space Force, Our Star Trek Future. And in it, I'm going to be looking at the history of Space Force, when it began, around the time of 2001, where it was first envisaged, and then delayed for nearly 20 years until it was resurrected under the Trump administration, and now the rest is history. And what Space Force means in terms of our future, how it deals with some scenarios such as what I've been discussing, a false flag alien event, and also the plans by the White Hats that this would actually open the door to a Star Trek future, that Star Trek actually was a primer, that it was a soft disclosure initiative to prepare for an incredible future. So I discussed that in the book, Space Force, Our Star Trek Future, and you can order it online now in Kindle edition on Amazon, or wait for the paperback release to come out on April 22nd. So thank you for listening and subscribing to my podcast.